Welcome to today's deep dive. Imagine, if you will, a brilliant legal mind closing a $1 million acquisition in a high-stakes boardroom.
A total power moment.
Exactly. But then on the way to the elevator, they drop a pen, bend over to pick it up, and completely throw their back out.
Yeah, the classic tragic paradox of the modern high achiever.
It really is.
Right.
You know, you listening might actually know someone like this, or maybe you are this person.
Right.
You drive your career like a high-end luxury sports car.
Yeah.
But if we pop the hood and look at your actual physical health, I mean, the engine is just sputtering.
It's held together by what? Duct tape and sheer willpower.
Duct tape, willpower, and probably like 3 triple shot espressos.
Yeah, that disconnect is really the defining health crisis of the modern professional class.
It's everywhere.
It really is. You have these individuals with absolute mastery over their professional output, their teams, their portfolios, but they have zero control over their own physiological baseline.
Which is wild when you think about it.
Right. The relentless high-stress drive that actually fuels their career success is the exact same mechanism that's accelerating their physical decline.
So you get these severe energy crashes at like 2 p.m. where you can barely keep your eyes open.
The afternoon slump.
Yeah, and your joints feel like rusty hinges when you stand up from your desk. And your nutrition. It's essentially whatever you can aggressively chew between back-to-back Zoom calls.
Just grabbing a handful of pretzels off camera.
Exactly. And that brings us to the mission of our deep dive today. We've got a fascinating stack of sources in front of us.
They really do.
It's a highly detailed business positioning document and a rather, well, aggressive, high-converting sales letter for a fitness and metabolic conditioning ecosystem.
Right. The brand is called FighterFITX, which also operates under the moniker the Day One Den.
The Day One Den.
Yeah. And what we're unpacking here is an absolute masterclass in taking elite athletic training principles.
Like combat athlete stuff, right?
Exactly. The kind used by combat athletes and completely reverse engineering them to solve the specific physiological decay of the time-starved civilian.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because on the surface, pitching a literal fight camp to a corporate accountant or a real estate agent sounds slightly unhinged.
It does sound intense.
But looking at the source material, they explicitly lay out their target demographic. This program is designed specifically for doctors, lawyers, realtors, office workers, stay-at-home moms, and business owners.
The everyday high achiever.
Right. And their core philosophy is bringing elite athletic, martial arts, and movement conditioning into the lives of people who, and I'm quoting the positioning document directly here, do not have time for generic gym guesswork.
That framing there, it's incredibly deliberate.
How so?
Well, they're acknowledging a fundamental truth about their audience. Like, these people do not have 2 hours a day to wander around a big box gym.
Yeah, just staring at complicated pulley machines.
Right, trying to figure out what to do. They are communicating. You don't need a grueling, bloody pro fighter boot camp where you get punched in the face.
Nobody wants to go to work with a black eye.
Exactly. You need a precision system. The goal is to stay lean, protect their joints, and optimize their daily energy, all without basically having to live inside a gym.
But I have to play devil's advocate here on this core premise.
Okay, go for it.
Let's say you're a realtor or a lawyer, right? You're sitting at a desk for 10 hours a day. Functionally speaking, your body is a high-performance commuter car. You're a minivan taking the kids to soccer practice or a sedan stuck in gridlock on the interstate. Isn't applying martial arts conditioning to your routine the equivalent of, like, giving a Honda Odyssey a Formula One pit crew?
That's a great visual.
I mean, does a busy mom or a realtor really need to train like a cage fighter?
Well, no, a realtor certainly doesn't need to know how to absorb a left hook to the chin.
Right. Hopefully not.
But what they desperately need is the exact same level of logistical precision that a professional fighter brings to a training camp.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, your Formula One pit crew analogy is actually the perfect way to look at this.
Really?
Yeah, because Formula One isn't solely about raw speed on the track. It's about minimizing systemic waste, maximizing fuel efficiency, and operating flawlessly within highly constrained timeframes.
Wow, okay.
And that operational efficiency is exactly what FighterFITX is borrowing.
So they are stripping away the combat element and keeping the logistical scaffolding of an athletic camp?
Precisely. Desk workers and executives suffer from very specific compounding physical tolls. The sales letter actually hits on this perfectly.
Yeah, they mentioned joint stiffness from prolonged sitting.
And unpredictable reactive nutrition. plus those cascading energy crashes we talked about.
Right, the 2 p.m. crash.
So when FighterFITX approaches a desk worker and labels them an athlete, they are validating the immense daily stress that person endures.
They're essentially saying, your high-stress career is a physical endurance event.
Yes. And by framing it that way, they move away from the generic advice of, just go jog for 30 minutes.
Which nobody has time for anyway.
Exactly. And instead, they offer a highly structured, data-driven solution.
That is a brilliant piece of psychology. They're elevating the daily, unglamorous grind of being a busy parent or a stressed executive to the elite status of an athletic performance.
It changes the whole mindset.
It does. But to actually achieve that Formula One level of precision without spending half your waking life in a gym, you cannot rely on guesswork.
You definitely can.
You can't just hope you feel like working out. You have to rely on hard telemetry.
Data.
Right, data. And that leads us directly into the mechanics of how FighterFITX utilizes technology, which forms the first two pillars of their business model.
Data-backed accountability and precision fueling.
Exactly.
This technology stack is where the ecosystem rapidly distances itself from, like a traditional personal trainer with a clipboard.
Yeah, big time.
They are integrating daily journaling, habit tracking, and crucially, wearable telemetry into the absolute core of the user experience.
The sources mention some very specific hardware integrations, actually. Apple Watch, Fitbit, Garmin, and Whoop straps.
Yeah, top-tier wearables.
And they are conducting these biometric recovery audits and sleep tracking without any manual data entry from the user.
Seamlessly.
Right. And then you look at the nutrition side, which, this sounds like it was pulled straight out of a sci-fi movie.
It really does.
The documentation outlines AI visual meal scanning, tailored Mifflin St. Jean macros, automated energy balance, and structured intermittent fasting protocols, specifically citing the 16-8 or 18-6 methods.
Okay, so to ground some of that terminology, the Mifflin St. Jean equation is a highly regarded clinical formula.
It's a mouthful to say, that's for sure.
It is. But it's used by dietitians to estimate a person's resting metabolic rate. It doesn't just guess, though.
What does it look at?
It factors in your specific weight, height, age, and gender to create a deeply personalized baseline of how many calories you burn just, staying alive.
Wow, okay.
And that AI visual meal scanning replaces the incredibly tedious process of typing every single ingredient into a calorie tracker.
Wait, I am going to push back on this entirely.
Okay, let's hear it.
I'm looking at this list of technological requirements, and my blood pressure is rising just thinking about the logistics.
It sounds like a lot of work.
It does. If I'm a highly stressed lawyer or a busy stay-at-home parent juggling 3 kids and a side hustle, my day is already scheduled down to the minute.
Very true.
Isn't taking photos of every single meal for an AI to scan, constantly checking my Whoop data for a recovery score, and trying to hit a highly specific clinical macro target just going to add massive anxiety?
It sounds exhausting.
Right. This sounds like making someone do their own corporate taxes by hand every single day. Isn't this just cognitive overload disguised as health optimization?
What's fascinating here is how the source material preemptively neutralizes that exact friction.
Oh, really? How so?
Well, you would logically assume that more data equals more stress. But the documentation relies heavily on phrases like seamless sync and automated energy balance.
Okay.
The entire architectural goal of this tech stack is not to add tasks to the user's plate. It's to actively remove cognitive load.
But how does tracking everything remove the load? You still have to look at the numbers.
By outsourcing the mathematics of your health. Think about the concept of decision fatigue.
Oh, sure.
A high achiever makes hundreds of high-stakes decisions every single day. By the time dinner rolls around, if they had to mentally calculate how many calories are in a chicken breast.
Or decide if their nervous system is too fried to lift weights.
Exactly, or try to remember if they slept enough to recover. That calculation is exhausting.
It really is.
So they default to the easiest option, which is usually ordering junk food and sitting on the couch.
Right, because the brain is literally trying to conserve glucose.
Yeah. Exactly. So FighterFITX is basically telling the user, stop thinking.
Stop thinking. I like that.
You snap a quick photo of your plate, and the machine learning model estimates the volume and macronutrient density for you. Your Apple Watch or Whoop strap syncs your sleep cycles and heart rate variability in the background while you pour your morning coffee.
So you don't even log it.
Right. The dynamic engine analyzes all that invisible data and simply issues a directive.
The directive?
Yeah, it tells you, today is a high-stress workday, your recovery is low, eat these extra 300 calories, and skip the heavyweights.
Okay, I am starting to see the appeal here. Instead of you acting as the project manager of your own diet and exercise,
Which is a job you're failing at anyway.
because you already have a full-time job,
Exactly.
the software becomes the project manager.
Yeah.
You demote yourself. You are just an employee executing the task the algorithm gives you.
You are outsourcing the executive function of your physical health to the system. You just follow the engine's dynamic feedback. And if we look at the intermittent fasting protocols mentioned, like that 16-8 method,
Where you fast for 16 hours and eat all your meals within an 8-hour window.
right, it aligns perfectly with this philosophy. Physiologically, fasting lowers insulin levels and promotes fat oxidation. But practically, for a busy professional, it's really just about not having to worry about breakfast.
Ah, I see. Skipping breakfast isn't just a diet, it's an operational efficiency hack.
Exactly.
You get 45 minutes of your morning back to answer emails or get the kids to school.
Precisely. It streamlines that incredibly chaotic morning window. It removes an entire category of decision-making for the hardest part of the day.
Okay, that completely flips my perspective. Outsourcing the data collection and the meal planning sounds incredible for mental recovery.
It's a game changer.
But let's be honest, at the end of the day, a dynamic AI engine cannot lift a kettlebell for you.
Sadly, no.
A Whoop strap cannot do a push-up. The actual physical work still requires sweating, and it requires time.
Yes, it does.
So how does a system like this squeeze elite physical conditioning into a schedule that literally has zero free time? Because Pillar 3 in this document is entirely focused on time-efficient strength and movement.
This is the make or break moment for their business model. They have to deliver on the aggressive promise made in the sales letter, which is completely stopping the waste of hours on random, ineffective workouts.
Right, and the text outlines their methodology here. They use scalable 1 to 16 strike sequences, Big Six performance benchmarks, and specific mobility protocols. And their explicitly stated goal is high ROI physical output in minimal time. Now, here's where it gets really interesting.
Oh, yeah.
I just love that phrase, high ROI physical output, return on investment.
It speaks their language.
It speaks directly to the soul of a business-minded listener. If you are an executive, you know exactly what an ROI is. You want your invested time to yield a measurable compounding dividend. But I have to ask about these mechanics. When they say 1 to 16 strike sequences, what does that actually look like? Are we just like shadowboxing angrily in our office cubicles between Zoom meetings?
Like throwing haymakers at the water cooler.
Yeah, exactly. Just fighting the air near the printer.
As amusing as that visual is, no. The strike sequences aren't about turning an accountant into a street fighter in the break room.
Good to know.
It all traces back to the biomechanics mentioned in the text. Think about what happens to your body when you sit at a desk for 10 hours.
Everything hurts.
Everything hurts. Your hip flexors dramatically shorten, your shoulders round forward over your keyboard, your cardiovascular capacity drops to a baseline crawl.
You are basically undergoing a daily masterclass in how to become incredibly stiff, fragile, and lethargic.
Yeah, you are training your body to be a chair. The chair is the mold, and you are pouring yourself into it.
That is a phenomenal way to put it, pouring yourself into the mold of a chair. So how do you break the mold?
Well, a strike sequence, drawn from martial arts, is a highly complex, multi-planar movement.
Meaning it moves in different directions.
Exactly. A punch doesn't just come from the arm. It requires your foot to pivot, your hips to open, and demands immense rotational torque from your core.
So it's the exact opposite of sitting still and facing forward.
It directly counteracts the stiffness of the desk worker posture. Furthermore, it forces your brain to rapidly connect with your physical extremities, and it spikes your heart rate into zone 2 or zone 3 almost instantly.
Just from throwing the strikes.
Yes. And because these sequences are scalable and require zero equipment, you can execute them anywhere. A hotel room, a home office, a garage.
And what about the Big Six performance benchmarks? The text drops that phrase a couple of times, but doesn't fully list them out.
Right, so in strength and conditioning, the Big Six generally refers to the foundational biomechanical movements of the human body.
Okay, like what?
A squat, a hip hinge like a deadlift, a horizontal push, a horizontal pull, a vertical press, and some form of loaded carrier lunge.
The basics.
FighterFITX is stripping away all the fluff. They aren't having you do bicep curls while balancing on a Bosu ball.
Thank goodness.
Right. They are benchmarking your ability to perform these raw, functional human movements safely.
Coupled with their mobility protocols, these movements serve as the direct antidote to the joint stiffness mentioned in their sales copy.
Exactly.
It's engineered to provide the absolute maximum physiological benefit for the absolute minimal time invested.
High ROI.
That is the high ROI. For a high achiever, time is their most painfully scarce resource. If you can provide a cardiovascular and mobility stimulus in 20 minutes that would normally take them an hour of jogging on a treadmill, that is a massive value proposition.
It's the distillation of fitness. They're giving you the concentrated active ingredients and throwing away all the filler.
But having the perfect tech stack and a blazing fast, high ROI workout only solves the logistics. It doesn't solve human nature.
Oh, human nature always gets in the way.
It always does. We all know what to do, don't we? Drink water, move heavy things, eat vegetables.
It's simple, but not easy.
The real challenge, the graveyard of all fitness programs, is getting a burnt-out executive to actually comply with the system consistently.
Compliance is the hardest part.
Right. If I am exhausted after a 12-hour workday, I can still just ignore my Apple Watch and order a pizza.
The watch can't stop you.
So how does this ecosystem actually force compliance? That brings us to the final pillar, community and coaching, and how FighterFITX packages and prices this entire delivery funnel.
This is where we look at the actual monetization and business model detailed in the sales letter. It's a really fascinating look at consumer psychology.
Okay, so the documentation shows they deliver the program utilizing the school community platform, a custom web app infrastructure, one-on-one strategy frameworks, and what they call posture and biomechanics labs.
Which I assume means sending in videos of your movements for form correction.
Yeah, that makes sense. But the pricing model is what stopped me in my tracks.
It's pretty aggressive.
It really is. They offer two radically distinct paths for the consumer. First, you have Base Camp, which is priced at $29 a month.
Very accessible.
Right. This gets you structured training blueprints, access to the daily habit journaling, and baseline nutrition intelligence. Pretty standard, low-barrier, entry-level stuff.
Yeah.
But then you have Peak Access, which skyrockets all the way to $197 a month.
That's quite a jump.
It is. That tier includes the high-touch guidance, the AI custom meal planning we talked about, the posture labs, and direct one-on-one strategy access.
In business terms, it's a classic barbell pricing strategy. You have a massive concentration of value at two extreme ends of the price spectrum.
Well, help me dissect the logic of that massive price jump from $29 to nearly $200. I really need to push back on this strategy because it seems contradictory.
How so?
If the entire foundational premise of the brand is that these professionals are way too busy to manage their own health, why offer a cheap do-it-yourself tier at all?
I see what you mean.
If you're a time-poor executive, a $29 DIY blueprint seems destined to fail. Why wouldn't they buy the $29 tier, fail to execute it because they're too busy, and then just cancel the subscription entirely out of frustration?
If we connect this to the bigger picture of executive psychology, it is a brilliant, almost manipulative piece of sales funnel architecture.
Manipulative.
Well, you have to understand how these highly successful professionals view their own capabilities. They view themselves as highly competent, self-motivated, dominant individual.
They are the masters of their universe.
Exactly. When they first encounter this sales letter, their ego kicks in. They think, I run a 50-person law firm. I am smart. I am driven. I just need the blueprint.
Just tell me what to do and I'll do it.
Right. Give me the $29 map and I can drive the car myself.
So the Basecamp tier exists purely to validate their ego. It lowers the barrier to entry.
It gets them inside the ecosystem with virtually zero financial friction. But, as you pointed out, the harsh reality of their lifestyle remains.
They're still stressed.
They are stressed, bombarded with decisions, and severely time poor. Within a few weeks of trying to execute the $29 DIY tier, they inevitably hit a wall.
The fatigue sets in.
They realize that simply possessing the blueprint isn't enough to counteract their fatigue.
But again, why don't they just quit and blame the program?
Because of the telemetry and the tracking.
Oh.
The ecosystem is showing them, via data, that the system works, but they are failing to execute it.
And high achievers hate failing.
They absolutely hate it. They recognize they don't just need the map, they need a chauffeur. They need someone driving the car.
That makes total sense.
They start to crave the daily executive accountability and the high-touch guidance of the peak access tier. The business model is literally structured to let them try it on their own.
Experience the pain of doing it manually.
Experience the painful friction of doing it without the AI meal planner doing the math for them, and then naturally upsell themselves.
They realize they need a project manager, and they realize they can just buy one for $197.
Exactly. For a successful attorney or a business owner, pulling out a credit card for $197 a month to essentially outsource their physical decay, buy back their time, and regain their energy.
It's nothing to them.
It's seen as a trivial business expense. It's not a gym membership to them. It's a direct investment in their own corporate productivity. They are buying compliance.
So what does this all mean? When we look at FighterFITX and the Day One Den, what they have successfully done is taken the exact frameworks utilized by elite combat athletes.
The wearable data telemetry, the complex rotational biomechanics.
Right, the clinical precision fueling. And they have weaponized them for the boardroom.
They really have.
They have taken fitness, which is usually this vague, guilt-inducing chore that busy people actively avoid, and transformed it into a measurable, highly structured, high ROI executive habit.
They aren't selling a workout routine. They're selling physiological risk management for the corporate athlete, and they have achieved that primarily by removing the cognitive friction. This raises an important question, really, for anyone listening who relates to this demographic.
What's that?
It challenges you to look at your own health, not as a series of random punitive gym visits to burn off a bad lunch,
Which never works anyway.
but as a holistic, data-driven ecosystem. Are you operating on guesswork, or are you operating on telemetry?
That's a great question.
The mental shift from treating your body like a garbage disposal for stress to treating it like a high-performance corporate asset is profound.
It really is a profound paradigm shift. And, analyzing this telemetry trend leaves me with one final, slightly terrifying thought to mull over.
Oh boy, what is it?
Throughout this deep dive, we have been talking about this as a voluntary personal choice, right? Choosing to use AI meal scanning and wearable tech like Whoop and Apple Watches to optimize our physiological recovery so we can perfectly match our chaotic work schedules.
Right, it's all opt-in.
But if this telemetry gets so accurate at predicting and optimizing our daily output, how long until high-stress employers start demanding access to it?
Oh wow, that is a chilling implication for corporate privacy.
Right. Imagine walking into your quarterly performance review, and instead of just looking at your sales numbers, your boss pulls up a dashboard and says, your revenue is down 10% this month, and according to your company-sponsored Whoop strap, your deep sleep has been terrible and you haven't been doing your mobility protocols.
You are not compliant.
Exactly. We are paying you to be optimized for the workday, and your data shows you are non-compliant. If your body is truly